Hi, I'm here with Cory. Cory, can you introduce yourself and tell us where you're from?
Sure. My name's Cory Doctorow. I'm a science fiction writer. I'm a blogger. I'm a policy guy, and I'm a geek. I'm from Toronto. I most recently lived in London, and now I'm living here in Los Angeles for a year at the behest of your fine government. I'm here on a Fulbright chair at USC.
I'm so glad that my tax dollars are paying for something good.
I think technically, actually, the Canadian tax dollars pay my way, but your government invited me.
Oh, okay. Damn. So, the first time I met you, you were wearing a skirt?
Kilt.
A kilt!
Called it a skirt, got kilt, as the Hammerslays want to say.
Speaking of science fiction, I feel sometimes lately that it's becoming more and more like a science fiction novel or life.
Well, I think that science fiction doesn't really predict the future. I think science fiction predicts the present, and it predicts it pretty accurately. It's actually pretty easy to do when you think about it, but you get people like Orwell. Orwell's not writing about the future. Orwell was writing about 1948. He was talking about what Stalinist Russia looked like. Setting it in the future was like driving a wedge in to give you some breathing space so you could look at what was happening in the present and understand it better. There are all these people worried about in science fiction there's this idea of the singularity, which is that technology is going to move so fast that the people who are part of it will cease to be human. And they won't have anything. They'll cross this gulf that won't be bridgeable again. That we won't ever be able to communicate with them, and they'll never be able to communicate with us. They'll be the people of tomorrow. But I think that that's more reflective of science fiction writers themselves living in the 21st century, being surrounded by technology that's emerging faster than they can take it up. And the impulse is to say, oh, no one's ever going to be able to take this up. We're going to become post-human if we take this up. So it's, a friend of mine told me that anything invented before you're 18, it's like it's always been there. Before you're 30, it's the coolest thing in the world. You'll devote your life to it. And after you're 30, you probably think it should be illegal, right? And so I think there's a lot of anxiety about technology moving really fast, just because it's great to be 25 and really into technology and feel like you've got the whole world in your hand and you know where it's going and where it's moving. It's another thing entirely to be 35 or 40 and to be trying to keep up with the kids in their crazy MySpaces.
But what about this part of broadcasting yourself? Like, what's your theory on that? How everyone is theoretically broadcasting themselves?
Well, I think people like Chris Anderson talk about this better than I ever will with The Long Tail. I think the interesting thing about broadcasting yourself isn't that everyone becomes a rock star. I think the interesting thing about broadcasting yourself is that everyone becomes famous to 12 people or 5 people or 6 people. I'm on the advisory board of a company called Technorati that makes this thing that measures who links to what on blogs. And one of the things that they've discovered is more than half the links ever created between 2 blogs were created between blogs that have themselves 4 or fewer links to them. It's, they basically these micro-targeted material that's really for an audience of 5. And I think that's really more interesting than anything else. We can talk a lot about whether or not there's high production values, whether or not it's empirically good or better than what came before, what have you. The fact is that when you're doing high production values, when you're spending a lot of money, you don't take risks, right? No one gambles with $200 million. That's why every movie that comes out of Hollywood looks just like every other movie that came out of Hollywood. But with a couple $100 or with no bucks, you can gamble a lot, and you get all kinds of weird crap like you were just saying, hey, there's the Ask a Ninja guy. The Ask a Ninja guy is characteristic of the totally amazing weird crap that you get when it costs $0 to enter the market.
Why are you here? Do you watch video blogs? Are you a video blogger? Do you wish to be a video blogger? Do you have a video blogger crush?
I don't have any video blogger crushes. I watch some video blogs. I watch a lot of short video. But I find that, the first thing I did when I got my PVR was I programmed it to get the Colbert Report and Jon Stewart. And what I found was that I never had to turn it on because the 7 minutes that were funny out of each of those shows, I would end up watching anyways on YouTube or Rever or whatever. And moreover, I'd end up finding 20 things that were kind of related to it that I'd end up watching too. And I found that I don't miss the production values all that much. In fact, since the screen is so small, since the window is so small, you don't even see the production values. I actually think high definition is going to destroy the entertainment industry because you can see all the polygons in high def, right? When you're in SD, you can hide a lot of sins. And when you're on an iPod screen, basically all the crow's feet disappear.
It's my own personal airbrushing system.
That's right. Yeah. It's MPEG artifacts. Yeah. So, but you take Friends and you stick it on an HD set that's 100 inches corner to corner, and it's all pores, right? And how completely weird Jennifer Aniston looks in real life.
Can you tell us your latest short story?
So the story most recently published is I, Robot. It was published on Rudy Rucker's zine Flurb. And it's a story about an uplifted coral reef. It's a kind of sequel to a story that was on the Hugo ballot this year that I wrote called I, Robot. It didn't win, but it's still a good story. I won the Locus Award for it anyway. And I might do one more called I, Rarebit about the uplifted cheese sandwich, but I might not.
Okay, and I'm going to push your button. Delete!